What's up, everybody? We are back again with another Blue Lock video, chapter reviews and discussions. With me today, I have always Jay Carson, aka JC. How you doing?
What's going on, man?
Nothing much, nothing much. Ready to talk some Blue Lock. And with us today, we have a special guest, a guy who's always in our Discord and bringing the facts and the truth whenever we stray off topic a lot of times.
It's usually me.
With y'all.
Usually me.
Right. Blaine, how you doing today, man?
Oh man, I'm doing all right.
Glad to
Just
hear
happy
it.
to help y'all out today on this fire Blue Lock.
Yep. It's fire that is Blue Lock. So as all of you know, if you're first of all, if you're not in our Discord, you should definitely join Hunters Association. That will be in the link. You should definitely join our Discord as we talk about mini series and have very fun on Sundays. So so you definitely want to join that. But I have been in the Discord trying to get everybody to read Blue Lock, and nobody ever wants to take me seriously when I say things are good. And then finally people take me seriously, and then they be like, you know what, you was right all along. So, Blaine, you are one of those people.
That's indeed.
All right, so what were your thoughts on Blue Lock?
Man, I have to say it's a pretty awesome series when it comes to looking at the sports aspect, looking at it differently. I love the way they're dealing with the ego of a sports player. You know, somebody who used to play sports, man, you got to have that certain mentality, that mindset, that killer instinct sometimes that we talk about. And this series is taking that and applying it to football or soccer, as we call it, and expounding upon it. And just taking it from the start of, you got this guy who's, okay, soccer player, football player, starting off. And just that first chapter kind of gets you when he thinks about the time he passed the ball and should he have shot it. And, you know, just thinking about those moments we go through, and it was kind of funny. I immediately thought about LeBron in that moment, like all those times in the last second he's passed off.
Sure did.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Let somebody else shoot.
What if he would have been more selfish?
Yeah, what if in some of those moments, you know, you just took it and just taking over from there and responding upon it and, you know, building up. Japan has, in their sense, has always been, they're good, but they're stuck in this rut, basically. So what can we do to take ourselves out this rut? And coming up with the Blue Lock plan and bringing in, what's his first name? Ego's first name? Jamachi, yeah. And him building a program. And I love the first part, especially. I had a feeling something was up when he told them they were all number 5 when it comes to the system and being each one and building that dog mentality that they needed to start building upon. So it's been good so far. I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of stuff on my plate, but I'm glad I got some of that stuff off my plate to kind of get to the point where I'm at now, where I can enjoy the series and the greatness it has to offer. Because after that first selection, I thought the first selection was good, but the second selection is ramping up, especially with this whole team aspect. The 2 versus 2, the 3 versus 3, and kind of seeing the dynamics at play, especially when you're looking at the 1 versus 1. And, you know, Soggy hasn't realized, you know, it's more than just a team game at some point. Sometimes you have to be able to do something. And all of them going to that point trying to figure out, what is my strength? What can I do? How can I add to my team? And how can I get my shot off? So yeah, I just love that mentality when it comes to that.
Right. That's one thing I do praise Blue Lock for a lot, especially with sports series, because a lot of times we don't get character development for every character. Right. At least the main characters that are shown within a team. And this is one of the first series that I've seen actually take time out to do character development for each player, each of the main cast that we're first introduced to. So I know how. That's why I said one of.
Okay, I'm about to say.
I said one of.
IQ. I love IQ.
I said.
JC's
I
like,
mean,
hey, ho.
right, because Ace of Diamond does it too, but that's why I said one of one of the few who does it, and which is why we love those series as well, because we do get immersed and invested in every single character and not just the main two or three. So that is another thing I like and I appreciate about Blue Lock. But Blaine, since you're more fresh, you know, to the series, what was your thought on the character development? Because me and JC, we love the character development that all the characters display and how they go from they were selfish, but the way they've grown within the facility of Blue Lock, it's become more of a we're friends, but we're rivals
Yeah.
type thing. And it's like, even though we respect each other, we still want to beat each other at the same time. But what was your thought on the character development in the series?
I think the author does a great job with that when it comes to not only seeing them work off the field, you know, working on conditioning, working on their moves. And once you have that foundation and taking it to the actual game and start reading what's going on and start to apply some of that stuff you worked on. And not only apply it to basically manipulate what you already know. I mean, a lot of times the stuff they're coming up with on the fly is crazy, especially some of the trick shots, and you're looking at some of the angles they do stuff, and it's amazing. But not just that, the way they take how can I get better? I'm one of these 300. There's only gonna be one. How can I take myself and I'm going to do the best to outshine these others because I want that spot. And because I want that spot, I have to evolve my game in order for it to be the best it can be, not only for myself, but also for my team. And it comes to that duality when looking at, I got to get mine off, but I also have to help my team.
Right.
And when you're looking at that, especially when it comes to Baru, when they were playing with him, he's probably one of the biggest examples of trying to learn that. When it's a guy who's like, you know what, I just have to devour him because he's not going to pass. He feels I'm the king, and I'm here and I'm supposed to control everything. Is my goal. As he said, y'all just side characters. I'm the main actor in this stage. So his was really great to see in that aspect, realizing, okay, sometimes somebody else has to shine. But if somebody else is shining, when is my time to come in and to play my part? And not just to play my part, but to take over. When he gets that villainous aspect, okay, I'm gonna be the king villain, basically. You know, you do what you're gonna do, but I realize there comes a moment when I have to become that lion to take over. And when he snatches that ball and it's like, I'm going to go score, I was so glad in that moment because I was hoping the author wouldn't just let him fall to the back when seeing how he got devoured. You know what? He devoured me, but I'm going to devour him back. And I love that aspect. And when they do that with so many other characters, when looking at that, where you may think they're defeated, but they're like, nah, I'm not going to take this standing down. There's something else I can do. There's another way I can make this work. So it's amazing how he takes each character and does that. And you see their moments. And I know we talk about flashbacks sometimes and, you know, how they like to use it to facilitate some of this stuff. But they're not too bad in this instance. But that's when you know something's about to turn up, when you start seeing that flashback and something's about to happen, and just seeing that mentality that each one of them has to grow in that aspect. And for them to change is pretty good how he develops them over the course of each game or each activity they're doing.
Right. And going forward now that everybody, you know, we've heard your thoughts on it and we all kind of have the same idea and mindset about the series and the character development as well as the characters. Picking up from where we left off last time with the Revenge Against the Top 3. Now, since then, about 18 chapters have released.
Ridiculous, guys. Like seriously, we were trying to do bi-weekly, and we thought that chapters come out normally, but then they just start come out sporadically. Next thing you know, JD's on Discord like, there's so many chapters out. I'm like, what? Like,
Right, 17 released in one day.
yeah.
So we're gonna try and get through every one of them, but we're gonna touch on each chapter as it pertains of importance. If we feel one isn't as important to maybe one chapter, we might just kind of gloss over it. But we're gonna try to get most of the points across on what happened during the match of Isagi and his team and the Revenge Against the Big Three. So, all right. So let's just start it off. Last time we spoke, and I said, I don't know if Ren will accept the match, right?
Right.
And you said he would. And it turns out he did.
Yeah.
So he accepted the match. We got the match started. Now, what I liked was Isagi came up with a plan.
Mm-hmm.
I think he called it the anti-chemical reaction, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, something to that sort.
Yeah, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong on the actual name he used, but I think it was something, anti-chemical reaction or something like that. Well, pretty much they devour each other and pretty much, overtake the other person. But it's not as for fair play. It's more just like we're just gonna try and outdo each other, and it's just gonna create this chemical reaction to where it looks like we're working together, but we're just trying to outdo each other at the same time.
Right.
So I like that aspect, and they was able to get something going. They was able to score some goals and kind of, take control of the first set of the match. Then things started to get more interesting, where the other team with Ren, and it kind of got a little spicy. Things got a little interesting there. So I want to get you guys' thoughts on the beginning of the match. What do you guys think of Isagi's plan going into it? Do you think that he had the right idea? Do you think that he maybe should have tried a different approach? Or do you think the way Ren countered and with his dominance, do you think that should have happened that way? But yeah, y'all get what I'm saying. But JC, let's start with you. What did you think of the beginning of the match and how everything started to play out?
I think the beginning of the match was kind of what I expected, pretty much. They came out the gate and they weren't afraid of the other team. They knew how good they were. They weren't afraid of them. They actually scored the first goal, so that was good on that aspect. But at the same time, Ren is just so good. I mean, like he's the right now, unless you might be talking to the guy at the last chapter we read, he might be the best player that we've seen so far. So just because, like Ren said, just because you scored that goal doesn't mean that you're making me want to play. I mean, you guys did a little team thing. You passed around, you scored a goal, cool. Then Ren came back, was like, "Yo, this is really nothing to me. Let me just go ahead and get this goal scored," and of course he did. So I mean, from the beginning of the match, it was cool, but it was just the beginning. Like it got so much better. But I'm starting to see a pattern here that we'll get into later. A Blue Lock and his storytelling. That's kind of telling. A little thing is kind of telling, but we'll get to that later. So how'd you feel about it, Blaine? The beginning of it.
Same way. Them coming with the setup. I knew they were gonna try to use their tools as best as possible, but just seeing how Ren was unfazed, like this is okay, cool. You did something a little neat. Still not enough for me to play yet. You're gonna bring a little bit more than that. And we ain't gotten there, but see how he turns it on the head and that back and forth is just crazy. But I was glad they came out swinging, basically, man. They were aggressive. They knew they were playing their plan of action. They put it in action. Kind of threw them off at the beginning, Ren and the other team. But it's the top 3 we're talking about, so be ready for more.
Right. And that's a great transition on to Ren and how he was able to counteract what Isagi, Baru, and Chigiri was doing. So the next part of it, which was I guess the second phase of the match, where Ren started to show his skill and will always be one step ahead of everyone else. So every time Isagi would pass, Ren will always be there. Every time Boru would try to dribble through the defenders and score a goal, Ren will be there. Ren was always one step ahead of the match, and I loved how we got to see Isagi try to figure out how can I beat him, because with if I can't outsmart him and at least be on the same level as him with seeing the field, we're not gonna win. So
Yep.
and this chess match began with Ren and Isagi on. Every time Isagi would get there, Ren would say, "No, you're still not there," and overtake him again. And we just kept going with that back and forth, back and forth. So I want to know what you guys thought of that little skirmish of the mind games that Ren and Isagi was playing throughout the match. JC, what was your thoughts on that?
So they made it seem like, and maybe they didn't. I don't remember if they actually called it the facial recognition like Isagi has, but Ren has the same ability. Basically,
Pretty
and it's just
much.
he has pretty much the same ability. The only thing that you said was the difference was number one, Ren is taller, and number
Yep.
two,
And he's
yeah,
taller, stronger, and faster.
yeah,
His
he's just
physical
pretty much.
ability
yeah,
isn't better.
exactly. So that's why number one, Isagi was losing, but at the same time, it wasn't so far out of reach that Isagi couldn't get to him. You knew he would
Yep.
get to him, but at the same time, I wanted them to, I guess, evolve more on the other team. But I guess we'll get to that later because they
Yeah.
kind of didn't. If we're being honest, they just naturally better. And
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, one side which was trying to constantly evolve, and another side which is actually better. And Ren was
Which
just
is
the
why I kind of said last time that I don't know, because when Isagi and them were playing, it was like when I told you that Ren and the other guys were just better versions of everyone on Isagi's team.
right.
Yeah. Yep. Especially the first thing. Yep.
Yeah.
So I mean, I liked it. Did I want a little bit more from Ren? I don't think I did because I feel like he was. I mean,
He was doing what he's
as a
supposed to
character,
do.
yeah, he did everything. I mean, like, dude was everywhere he needed to be, and it's just like seeing Isagi constantly break himself down and to build himself back up, and then do it over and over again to try to get better and
Yes.
better. Yeah, those puzzle pieces, man. That from a artistic standpoint, man. Like, I don't know how long it takes to draw those things, but that's
Yeah, no,
ridiculous.
that is the best part of the art of the series. But Blaine, what was your thoughts on the mind games between Ren and Isagi?
The crazy thing about Ren, which we already talked about, it's not just him seeing, but his abilities and how he meshes that. And not only how he meshes that, they basically called him what, the puppeteer?
Yeah,
Like everybody was marching to his strings. He was the what is it, the marionette,
mm-hmm.
basically on the field. So I thought Isagi was making stuff happen, but Ren was thinking so far ahead with different situations that it got to the point which we got to later that he was reading Isagi, and Isagi had to basically use that against Ren in the end because he knew what was happening, and the fact he even took Borrow in account just that quick. He's
Right.
like, even after that,
Right.
he's like, okay, I got him accounted for now. I know he doesn't play what I'm used to, so I'll just play. I have him accounted for how he's going to attack. He's going to be aggressor. He's going to be that sneaky guy that's going to be come in whenever. So I got you. And the fact that he controlled that field, then with him and the Soggy going back and forth, and how they see the field and trying to go through each player. And I don't know. I'm gonna love to see with how evolved Soggy has gotten in Ren with a full on match with 11 on 11 and
Right.
just
Right.
them truly seeing a huge field
Yeah.
because the way they just see it now and going through, and I'm interested to see how they play off each other. So it was interesting. I loved it, the back and forth and them building, and just all the original cast basically, improving. They're not staying still. They're gonna do what they can do using their skills however they need it, and I love that. And just thinking about it in that aspect of the build up we're getting, and 1, 2, and 3 just being better, but there's a reason this next part is coming. This show is time for them too.
Right. So speaking of that, the whole thing with Burrow, and how at first I was a little concerned with him during the match because he was kind of taking a backseat to everybody.
Right.
Isagi was doing this thing as we discussed. Chigiri started doing this thing with using his speed, and Boro was kind of just in the background. And I was like, okay, so is he ever going to step up? And
I was thinking the same thing.
Right. Is he ever going to step up? Is Isagi and Chigiri going to use him? And then it just came to the point after the match was starting to get out of hand. Boro stole the ball from Isagi and scored a goal. And that's when that you mentioned Ren didn't account for that, because who would ever think that somebody
Exactly.
on someone else's team is going to steal the ball from them in order to score a goal? So that was always that was a nice little twist and dynamic to play on it. But I guess when you kind of look back on it now, it's like he did call himself the villain. If you're going to be the hero and the main protagonist of the story, then I'll be the main antagonist.
Right.
So when you look back at it, it makes sense. But just for the fact in this match and given the stakes of it, that's what he chose to do at that point in time. It really changed the flow of the game until Rand brought it back down to earth. But moving on to that, after that, I got a
question first.
Oh, go ahead.
All right, so how did you guys feel about the evolution of the other people on Isagi's team? You got Chigiri, you got Nagi, and you got Baru, right? You have all three of them, and do you think they evolved enough? Because, I mean, Chigiri has his speed. Nagi has, he traps the ball and does what he does. But everybody did basically a little bit better of the version that they had before.
Right.
But unlike Isagi kept on. Like he's like I want to be the best. Even when he wasn't guarding Ren, he's like, look, I need to beat Ren. I need to be better than the best player on, the field.
Right.
Yeah, and it kind of looked like, I'm not saying they weren't playing hard, but they weren't as focused on, hey, I got to beat Ren. They were just like, okay, we're just trying to score. We're trying to be better than the person in front of us, but not better than Ren. And you didn't really see the evolution that you normally would see with them, right? That's some pretty good goals. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the cause of Isagi being the MC, and this was his thing from the beginning, to get revenge and to steal Bakura back. Even though there was a passage that we're going to get to in a little bit that was said about that.
That's why I'm asking the question, because Bakura, that we're going to talk about later, he basically did that. He evolved. He said, I need to evolve, so I did. But everybody else
Nagi evolved, Baru evolved as far as what he brought to the table. Chigiri, I don't think Chigiri evolved enough.
No.
I think he really didn't have a breakthrough as the other two had. Disregarding Isagi out of that equation. I'm mainly talking about Nagi and Baru. I don't think Chigiri actually put in the effort as far as evolving, which I kind of figured he wouldn't, because he hasn't shown anything other than his speed.
Yep, and I was just about to say, he's a one-trick pony right now.
Right,
and
right
it's
now.
just variations of that.
Yeah, I mean, right now he's a one-trick pony.
Is it Nagi still a one-trick pony too? Because all he does is trap things and then does something like that.
That's true.
That is also that is a fair case you can make.
I mean,
but
Go ahead.
Nagi did evolve enough to where he was able to take and make a goal by himself without the trap.
And he did it against Ren also.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it
So
was against Ren. Yep.
so he evolved enough for that aspect while Chigiri didn't.
Yeah, he got to do something about that. That take you down
Which
the
which why I
sideline.
said he was the weakest on the team.
Yeah, I think he is. You're right about that.
But now moving from that, let's get into the Bakura situation.
Yes.
Now, this was a very interesting match for him because all along it was set up to be this is going to be Isagi's match to come back, show how much he's improved, and to steal Bakura back from Ren. And as the match was progressing, and as Isagi kept evolving, Ren kept topping him, and everybody else on the field pretty much being I'm not gonna say the best versions of themselves because the number 2 and the number 3 they were just so much better than Nagi and Baru. It kind of really didn't matter, So they really didn't have to evolve. And really, when you look at it, Ren didn't need to evolve either because it was just because they were so much better already. So it was mainly the point of them actually putting in effort.
Right.
So now that um everything is taking place on the field, Bakura is literally sitting there feeling left out. And he's finally getting that realization that, hey, what I've always wanted was to play with Isagi. Because I always had this monster, and this monster will always guide me and pretty much be my instinct and tell me what I need to do. So now that he's watching this battle between Ren and Isagi take place, and he's like, I don't fit in to their world.
Yeah,
because
he's
they're
like, they
just
don't even see me.
right. Because it happened so fast that Isagi has evolved and become so much better than Bakura that Bakura missed it, and he missed his chance to evolve during this entire process. So when Bakura finally is starting to realize that, Nagi makes a certain comment to him saying, what makes you think, even if we win, that you're going to be the one that we choose to come on our team?
Yep.
So I want to get you guys' thoughts on that exchange between Nagi and Bakura coming to the realization that I'm in trouble and I've never thought once about not being taken. So Blaine, let's start with you. Your thoughts on that whole sequence.
Yeah, I think that was just the wake up call he needed, and it was funny. The whole time talking about looking at his backstory, him growing up, him playing with the monsters, while he was playing with his teammates. Basically, he was passing to the monster. The monster would do this, the monster would do that, and continuously chasing after that. And at the beginning of the story, I thought it was a wonderful thing. Okay, he sees that thrill, that aggressiveness that's needed in order to get stuff done, and he's chasing that. But the fact that the author took it and flipped it, and like now it's a hindrance because you're looking at other people, you're looking for somebody to accept you, for you to pass to, basically, for them to score. Now you need to be your own, in essence, monster. What are you gonna do about it? You're here to be the best striker, not the best passer.
Right.
And him taking that and saying, you know what? I'm going to score. I'm going to do what I need to do because I'm not going to be left behind. And him getting that thrill back, it's not about me being lonely anymore. It's about me and the love of the game. Because he always talked about when he was little how much fun he was having, and people not necessarily having that fun with the game like he was having. And to get back to that core and remember that and saying, you know what? I'm not going to let them leave me behind. I might not be in their world right now, but I'm going to shape their world as best as possible. And that's what he tried to do. And that's what he did in that moment.
JC, what was your thoughts on it?
When it comes to the whole monster situation, I thought the author was trying to say, even when he was a kid, that the monster represented potential. Like if you're at your max potential, that, the monster is there. He'd pass the ball to the monster, but the kid would be like, okay, you passed too far. And he's like, no, if you just headed the ball instead of trying to run and catch it, then that's what would happen. So he gets the blue lock, and the monster ends up, being quote unquote Isagi. So at that current moment, that was potential. He was better than Isagi, but he saw Isagi as that potential, and he became this monster. So I want to play with Isagi. Isagi represents the monster. Now that Isagi is better than him and Ren is better than him, everybody else is showing that they're better than him, the monster is now lagging behind. So at that case, he's like, okay, if I pass to the monster, now it's going to be behind. Now what do I do? When Ren came to him and said, like, your soccer is like you're playing to pass to someone, that's why you're never going to, amount to anything. You have to be good enough to be on the field. And when Nagi said, like, what makes you think we're going to choose you? Like that desperation on his face when he realized that there was one score away from winning and he might not get chosen, like, and couldn't play with everybody else that he really wanted to play with. So I had to get better. That desperation, man. Like, he took everybody. He was dribbling, just went past everybody. Like, he was crazy out there just to get that score, even though Isagi stopped him. Then it made me sad about figuring out what happened next. But anyways, that desperation, that passion, the way that they actually, brought it out, it was actually a callback to, I think, the match before when we're talking about who we're going to choose. Like, that's always there. And just because you're friends, don't mean we're going to choose you. You aren't the best one out there. Why would we choose you? Especially if you're lagging behind and getting the ball stolen from you because you're so worried about not getting chosen.
Right.
I mean, storytelling's awesome, man. I can't even bro. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's definitely amazing. And transitioning from that, this amazing last desperate attempt from Bakura, we find that Isagi made a bet on himself and made a bet that he's trusting Bakura to evolve.
Right.
And by Bakura evolving, that Bakura is going to try his best to score the goal himself. Now, at this point, during this scene, it's a tie game. Was it a tie game or was it
tie game?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it was a tie game. Next score wins, and Bakura has the ball. He's going crazy. He's not passing. He's just running full force, dribbling through everyone. Evolving at the same time. Now Isagi is placing this bet that Bakura is going to evolve. Bakura shoots for the winning goal, and Isagi is right there to stop it. Isagi finally has defeated Ren as far as outthinking him.
Yes, one time, yeah.
Right, this one time. And it was the one time that was most needed. Now, after that, we get to the point where the ball flies in the air. The last few seconds are coming down. And we see the ball fly towards Ren. And JC, my guy, I kind of remember we talked about something like this. What was it? Oh, yeah. That Isagi was going to lose. And I didn't think that they were ready to win.
Right.
And you was like, there's no way, because that really hasn't been done in the series, because the protagonist always wins.
Yep, you're right.
And this is one of that. And I told you this series was different.
Okay, number one. Okay, let me get my little rebuttal out the way. Number one,
get your rebuttal.
There was two things. I said that the other team would not evolve. And the reason why they didn't evolve, and I figured that
technically the other team did evolve because Bakura evolved.
Okay, it's Bakura. That's still like one person out of four, so it's not even majority.
Bakura.
Okay, one person Bakura evolved. Got you. But the rest
of the big three
did not. They just played to their potential. So I figured that since they weren't going to evolve and everybody else on the other team would evolve, that they would win. Now, the big thing that I did not take into account was that if somebody loses, if the other team loses, they get to pick one person from the other team, which is, of course, going to be the main character. I forgot all about that whole aspect of they could just pick Soggy and he goes on to the next round. For some reason, I didn't think of that. I don't know if you did.
I didn't. I just knew they wasn't gonna win.
So like, if you would have said that last week, like they could just beat him and then still pick Isagi, and I'm like, you know what, you're right. Then he's gonna go to the next round. He's not gonna go backwards. But he did.
Right. Which honestly, I didn't think of that. The only thing I was looking at was the skill level and how much better they was during the first encounter. And you was bringing up the fact that the match was still close, and I was like, but they wasn't even trying.
Okay, let's just say the name of the chapter. What was it called? It was called Luck.
Yeah, it was called Luck.
It's called Luck, and that's it. I mean, come on, man.
Luck. It was luck.
You got lucky that you were right. That's pretty much what they were saying. Like, luck.
Hey, that was an interesting chapter.
Hold on.
It was.
It was a very interesting chapter, and Jinpachi Ego backed my theory about luck. But that's a whole different segment story for another day. But the fact is that Isagi and his team lost, and it's time to pick somebody from the losing team. Of course, other people was like, well, I may want Nagi, or maybe I want Baru. Nobody really said Chigiri, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah, nobody.
But Ren was like, shut up, I'm picking, and it's final. And the only reason he chose Isagi was because Isagi I don't want to say outmastered him.
He said he lost to him.
Which basically meant he outsmarted him.
Yeah.
He finally one-upped him. And that was the first time he ever been one-upped. So it was kind of like a pity pick, if you even want to look at it. It was like, just because you outdid me this one time, I'm going to pick you.
Didn't he say something like, I want to give you a first row seat to...
Yeah. And I want to give you the first row seat for to me becoming the best striker in the world. So I thought that whole thing was good. I didn't think it would end that way, personally. I just thought they was going to lose. I didn't know how they was going to lose. I just thought they was going to lose. So the fact that it ended that particular way, and the fact that Ren chose Isagi to move to the next round, leaving Nagi, Baru, and Chigiri behind, I thought that was crazy. But what was your thoughts on the JC, the whole thing?
Man, go ahead, Blaine, because I get in my bag. I don't know. I'm mad about it.
All right, Blaine, what was your thoughts?
Well, let me talk about something just before that, which I thought was good. While Bachi was going, they showed a quick. Is JD gone?
He is. He froze. He's back in a
minute. They showed a quick panel of Isagi in the midst, and I caught it, but it went straight back to Bachi, and I was like, okay, so what did Isagi notice? And they didn't go back to it. And seeing him come up at the end when he's blocking, and them go back and tell basically Isagi's story and what he was looking at the time and how he got in position. I love how the author did that. That was just something real quick. But man, luck happens all the time in sports.
It does.
The right place at the right time, however you want to say it, whatever cliche you want to use.
Raptors.
And the fact that even Ren took that into account, the luck factor that he has in trying to be in the right place at the right time, because he knew if he stopped, there's a chance he can get it, but let me increase my luck by going full head of steam and trying to get in position for this ball to bounce back. And a lot of times, some people just have it, and some people don't. When it comes to that, I think of what is his name?
Dodo.
Pippen. Pippen. Not Pippen. Not I said Pippen, but Rodman. Thinking about Rodman and how he and especially looking at that, how he threw balls off the rim just to see how they would bounce. And he knew that if it hit in this position or this person shot it from this position, and if it hit this part of the rim and it fell, where would it go? And him constantly trying to be in position. And I feel like Ren kind of sees that type of thing where, okay, if this happens, I need to be here in this area. Even though Isagi, in a sense, has that by looking at the whole field, but Ren takes it to a whole nother level when he includes that chance aspect of it. And when we get to the luck part and him just being in the right part, and that was just shattering to me. Just seeing it fall right there and him just kicking it, I was like, well, dang.
Right. What about you, JC?
All right, I'm going to go ahead and, I guess, in my explanation of the transition to the luck part also. So using the Dennis Rodman, aspect of it is Dennis Rodman. If you ever watched him play, I guess you the whole documentary with the Bulls, Dennis Rodman never gave up on the play, even if it looked like the ball was going in, even if the ball was like going out of bounds. This dude would jump into the crowd. He would do anything to keep the play going, and that is what Ego was talking about luck. He said that everybody else, except for Isagi and Ren, stopped on the play.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So it's luck that Ren got to it and kicked it in, which made me wrong. But at the same time, it was Ren not stopping on the plays. Just in case the ball is going to be here, I want to keep running. I want to keep going. And like the chapter said, it could have been a millimeter one way or the other, and the play would have been totally different. But it didn't matter to him. He's like, I'm just going to be here. I'm going to run. And even though he recognized that Isagi beat him in that moment, he still won because he didn't give up on the play. Right. And when Isagi asked him, like, how do I beat you? Like, what happened? There had to be something wrong. And he's like, no, it's just luck, man. I just happened to be at the right place, right time. Didn't give up.
Yep. And that's how it happens sometimes, Luck plays a big part in sports all the time. So now that we've finally gotten through this intense match, which is probably so far the best match in Blue Lock.
One of the longest too.
Yeah, and one of the longest. We now go to the next stage. We have the new team with Ren, Jubei, Hayoshi, Bakura, and Isagi. The brand new team, the ultimate team, the top 5, whatever you want to call them. So this brand new team is the first team to make it to the final. I'm guessing this is the final part of this next phase that Ego has them in, as far as like building that team. So we're back with the 5, and Ego's like, congratulations, you unpolished gems.
Of course.
Right. Now for your next test, this guy brings in pro players.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where in the hell did he get pro players from? And why did he choose pro players?
But that's different, though. I mean, technically in soccer or football, that's different because you can be of the same age or around the same age as a high school player and still be pro.
Yeah, you can, but it's the fact that
they would even do it.
Right, that they would even say, you know what, fine, we'll help you out with this. Because being pros, we all know they have other things to do, where as far as whatever endorsements they have, training, practice, whatever. It's many things that come with being a professional athlete. And the fact that these guys say, you know what, Ego, and also they're from different parts of the world, from different countries as well. Now, unless there's some grand thing going on to where they just happen to all be somewhat in a close vicinity to each other, and Ego convinced them to come in. But whatever was behind that is the fact that he's gotten these world-class players to come. And now this is Isagi's next test. How will he fare against these pro players? I want to know what y'all thoughts were on the arrival of the pros and the amateurs, which is our new five, and how do you think they're gonna fare against them? So, I mean, whoever wants to start first, y'all can go ahead and start first.
I guess I want to go ahead and explain. I mean, like, okay, so just like they have, U20, which is under 20, under 21 teams, that are essentially pro players. It doesn't exactly mean that they're playing with quote unquote the first team, at least not the first team yet. So you could be a pro player in soccer overseas or even here playing in MLS, which is the soccer league that's here, and you can be pro, but you cannot be on the first team. You could be really good, but they'll still send you off to play in another country or play whatever just to get better, play against better competition. So as of right now, you have the best quote unquote, 300 or now, I'm not sure what the number is now, players in Japan. And it's going to be, for a young player like them, it's going to be beneficial to send them to this elite place where they're trying to make the best striker in the world. It's beneficial for a country to send one of their younger players to be there.
But the thing to counter argue that is these players are already top on their teams.
Well, I mean, yeah,
on their respective teams.
That don't mean that they're playing with the first team.
But if they're the top on their team, that is playing with the first team.
I'm saying, like,
you can't be the top on your team and play on the second string.
Yeah, you can. I mean, it's like Atlanta United has their main squad, right? Then they have their secondary squad. You could be second. I mean, like the best player in your secondary squad.
But they're saying the main team.
Are they saying the main team?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm not sure very many. I mean, were they 17, 18 years old or something like that?
The youngest one was around the same age as Soggy. Yeah, the youngest one.
Okay,
but it didn't give a age on the other ones.
Specifics or whatever. But I get what you're saying. But at the same time, I mean, if they're sending their aces on their teams from France or everywhere else, then that's something that would take me out. I'll be shocked and surprised. But I'm just going how soccer works now. So I'm a fan of it. So I mean, it's like, but I mean that's cool. But
well, I mean, but go ahead, Blaine.
It does say the sign of Spain's prestigious club, Real Madrid, the English league's top scorer. No, hold on, I'm on the wrong page.
Either way, they're very good. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I was right. Yeah, I'm on the right page. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's saying that the English league's top scorer.
So it might be.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying, like, what do you think this is a good idea? And do you think it's too early for Isagi to be facing off against these pro players that's at the top of their game and in their field right now?
Nah.
Do you think it's too early in the story?
Nah.
I think you're trying to break them down again.
Yeah, you got to break them down. I mean, they're feeling good. Especially, here's the thing: it's less about Isagi at this point, and it's more about the big three. Ren is out there, and thinking he's the best thing. He might be the best thing in Blue Lock, but when you go against professional players, and these players just might be, the best on their number one squads, then of course Ren's gonna have problems. Of course, the same things you were doing against, everybody else is not gonna work against them. It might work once, but it's not gonna work again. These people are probably gonna be stronger, faster, and just better than Ren, so it's gonna break him down too. So how's he gonna respond?
So you guys think this is all of Ego's plan just to pretty much humble them?
Oh, definitely, 100%.
I think so.
I mean, I can definitely agree with that. I can definitely see this being Ego saying, now that you guys have made it to where you are, we're gonna humble you.
I mean, if you think about it, Ren's brother...
And bring you back to reality.
Yeah, Ren's brother is, we're going to assume, essentially as good as Ren or better if Ren wants to beat him.
Yeah, he's better than Ren. I mean, he's already... isn't he already a pro player?
Yeah, I think he's already overseas. In Spain.
Yeah, he's already overseas and is a pro player, so...
So I'm saying, just break him down and rebuild him up again. Because they're not going to win this next round, I'll tell you right now.
No.
No, definitely not happening.
Ain't no way. All right, so... go ahead, Blaine.
Just real quick, I think another thing is reason the question, who is Ego? And how does he have this pull?
This is also something to think about because we never got a full backstory on Ego. All we knew was that I forgot the lady name, but she hired him for this project, and he was going to make the Japan's best striker. Also, my whole thing is Ego has to be somebody with a lot of pull to get these players from other countries to come and help Japan build this ultimate player. So that's just definitely something I hope we get in the future chapters, a backstory on Ego and why is he having so much pull in football.
He's got to be
don't
big.
know. Yeah, it's something. He got to be big. He's got to have a resume somewhere that he's done and accomplished something. But he seems to everybody who was at that table when they introduced him, he broke them down and told them to shut up, basically. So
pretty much. So
gotta be somebody.
Right. All right. So as we're nearing to a close with all of the latest chapters, the final 2 chapters that we've gotten, we went backwards a little bit. So we're moving away from.
I think we lost JD.
Yep.
I think we lost him, but at this point, we're going to go to the final chapter. We got my boy just
me.
Go
ahead.
He's
back.
There
you go.
Yeah, you were gone.
Yeah, I figured that.
So
but
yeah, go ahead, man.
Go ahead. Oh, I was just gonna say. So now we
lost him again. Yeah, I was trying to figure out my guy's name here. Like the dude that does the axe kick. Like,
oh yeah.
What axe kick? Am I?
Yeah, you're going in and out.
There you go.
Yeah, you're back.
I just wasn't moving. That's why I didn't know if I was frozen. I was.
Yeah,
God damn
frozen. You were definitely frozen.
All right. Well, keep it going. What y'all was saying.
Yeah, so I'm trying to figure out his name because I'm looking for it right now. But look, number one, I'm looking at the artwork, and my guy has a just like the way that he looks is super cool. But number one, how good is he? Like,
you talk about Shido?
Yeah, his name is Shido.
Yeah.
How good is Shido? Like, we understand that his violence is what's kept him back and the reason why he's losing. But for them to show him now, at this current moment, he's at the bottom 2 and he's in danger of being put out. But to show somebody who's this good at soccer now, even though, Ren and everybody, the top 3 are out there, this dude has the potential to be better than them. Just his raw skill and, what he's doing on the field seems to be kind of, I'm not going to say light years ahead of them, the people that he's playing against, but he's really good.
I think it goes just from the fact that what was his name? It started with an I. Was it E guy?
Yeah, something.
You know what I'm talking about though. But Igarashi.
Yep. I think
so. Igarashi did state that the reason why they kept losing and the reason why his rank is so low is because he's received so many penalties that his rank is low, and they've lost a few matches because he received penalties and he was kicked out of the match.
Right.
So that is probably the reason why.
What is he? 111? He's like at the very end.
111. Yeah. 111. I just looked at it.
So because of that is the only reason he's been held back, not because of his skill.
But he looks like Grimjow.
He does kind of look like Grimjow a little bit.
So if you had to speculate, just say between 1, 2, and 3, what do you think he fits in? Do you think he's better than the Ren?
I don't think he's better than Ren. I think he's probably in that 2 or 3 range.
Yeah, right. I'm guessing number 2.
Just off of talent.
Yeah, how about my once again, I'm horrible with names because I read this so fast. My monk guy is out here. His whole thing is getting fouls.
Yeah.
Excuse
Igarashi.
me?
So
excuse me, boy.
The monk who was pretty much at the beginning, him and Soggy was the worst ones.
Right.
So everybody pretty much progressed, and we haven't seen him for a while. So I'm pretty sure a lot of people thought he probably got kicked out of the facility. So he comes back, and his whole thing is my evolve or my new version of myself is making it seem as if you fouled me. So pretty much he's like the James Harden.
Yeah.
That's definitely part of soccer, though. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
that is definitely
It
part
is.
of soccer.
He is the James Harden for a good comparison of this series. He's going to make you foul him and get you thrown out of the game. Which, when you think about it, it is a very good combination with Shido because Shido is violent and Shido probably gets under people's skin, and Igarashi is gonna make you foul him.
But as of this current moment, I mean, even though Shido is there, I mean, they seem to be playing pretty well together. He's receiving passes from him. He seems to be doing okay.
Yeah. He was always decent. He just was pretty much the worst one. Because he never really had his skill. I mean, I guess his skill was defense, being really good on defense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning,
high energy.
High energy guy. Disruptor.
Yo, how about my guy Shido with his bicycle kick though? To score that goal. I mean, like, that's the first time we saw one in the series?
Yep.
And my guy in his last panel with these wings though?
Yeah, that last panel was amazing.
With these wings though?
I definitely think we need to commend the art a lot more.
Definitely.
Because the art in this series is just top notch.
Okay, last question for you guys. Who do you think is getting kicked out of this round?
Igarashi.
It's got to be Igarashi.
So
That's the only thing that makes
they're going to lose and they're going to take Shido?
It could act. Oh yeah, I think they would definitely take Shido over Igarashi.
I'm just saying, as in they're going to lose. As in, of course, they're going to take Shido.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Now on the flip side, I think if Shido and Igarashi wins, I think Rio will be the one to get the boot.
Yeah, that sounded so weird when you break it up.
Rio.
Yeah.
The 1, 2.
Yeah. So yeah, he thinks Rio's gonna get the boot. So what you think, Blaine?
Man, I don't know. Cause my problem is that last scene when they got left, they are so determined to get back.
Right.
I mean, they could fail, but from a story aspect, I don't see how that would work for them, especially with Igarashi, his skill being getting fouls.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, I think it's either gonna be Rio or Igarashi.
Well, at this point, Nagi got set back down to the threes, and Rio's gonna go back because he got to have Nagi and Rio got to go against each other again because they'll be the 3v3 match.
Well, that's if Rio makes it to the next round.
He's got to. I mean, the story's set up for it.
Well, yeah.
I'm not saying it's gonna be. I'm not saying he's gonna win or lose. I'm saying the story's set up for it. Nagi left him behind, and then when Rio gets back, he's gonna see Isagi's not there anymore. It's like the guy that you left me for is not here. So now what are you gonna do?
Yeah, especially after what Isagi said to him about you need to be the one to choose, not somebody else choose you.
Yeah, right.
So he's got to come back in that aspect.
But it's definitely going to be interesting how this match takes place and who's going to make it through. But I think we're going to wrap it up for this video. First off, I want to thank Blaine for stopping by, rocking out with me and JC on
thanks, Blaine, man.
This Blue Lock review. Thank you for catching up in such a short time as well, so you can make it here. And thank you.
Lost him again. Thanks everybody for being here. Don't forget to rate the video and comment to me, always Jay Carson, on every social media platform. This is JD from Tick Game Network. No, we can't hear him.
Damn it.
We'll see you guys
Oh
later.
my God.
Peace out.
I hate it.